how to buy your first home and create instant equity. Now that's what I'm going to show you in a minute, okay? So stay tuned, because honestly, this is the best strategy that I can recommend to any first-time buyer or any home buyer for that matter, because this strategy is the only way whereby you can create or buy your forever home and become financially free. Now, for those of you who don't know, my name is Roy Derrick, and I've been involved in property for the last 30 odd years. I've invested in property, I've bought loads of various houses, I've built my own house. One of my biggest passions is buying rundown houses, doing them up and then selling them, flipping them in other words. But I've also developed land, I've built new houses, I've converted lots of barns into dream homes, you name it, I've done it. And if you do exactly what I'm about to share with you from a very young age, i.e. from the very first time you buy a house, trust me, within a short space of time, you could become financially free. Now, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, give us a like, because at the end of the day, this channel's got lots of tips and advice that can help you. Trust me, it really can. The reality is we all dream about buying a home that's, got a large garden you can just move into. It's got a beautiful kitchen, nice bathroom, lots of bedrooms, and it's big, it's spacious, it's airy. But very often when you buy a brand new house or one that's already been modernized, it means that you're buying a property whereby you're going to have more than likely a big mortgage hanging around your neck. You're going to be in debt for a very long time. You may not or only just be able to afford the mortgage repayments, and you may not be able to enjoy life fully like somebody who owns a smaller house or a cheaper house or whatever. Now, don't forget, if you were to buy this new house, there may be things in it that you don't really like. Maybe the decor, the color, might be that part of the kitchen you don't like or whatever. What that then means is, even though you've gone and bought your forever home, okay, and you've gone out, you've spent a lot of money doing it, you ended up spending a little bit more turning it into your home, not somebody else's home. Because when you buy a house that's already modernized, you're buying somebody else's taste, you're buying somebody else's choices. So you're limited because you're financially in debt now, buying your dream home, and you can't afford maybe to alter it. And there is an alternative, one that I've taught lots of people to do. My children have done it, I've done it time and time again, and so can you. Now, doing so, okay, takes a little bit of time and effort and commitment, I agree. But long term, it could be a way to secure your future. So to begin with, let's just go back a little bit, whereby you would like to buy your dream house, whether it's brand new or whether it's from somebody who's improved that house over the years. There's only one person that's really benefiting financially, and that's the seller. Because in effect, what the seller's done is what you should be doing, and that is created equity and wealth in a property so that then you can move and step up the property ladder. Now, one thing I will say is that if you're buying a house that's run down and needs to be modernized, renovated and updated, do so, think smart, okay? Do so and think, is what I'm going to do to improve it going to make it more valuable? Is it going to increase its value? Because if you're going to do anything to that property that's not going to increase its value, then don't do it. Typical example would be, you've bought the rundown house, you see a kitchen you love, it's going to cost you £30,000 that kitchen, £40,000. Really? Is that going to add that much value to the property? Very unlikely. So spending a lot of money on fixtures and fittings doesn't necessarily mean that that property is going to increase in that value. You have to know exactly what type of investment and how to increase a property's value to make it work. It is relatively straightforward, but it's like anything else. If you know what you're doing, you know what you know, yeah? This is key. Learning the tricks of the trade is how you create long-term wealth, equity in a property. So let's say you're buying a brand new house, okay? Buying a brand new house. Everything is nice on the house. It's brand new, or it might be a house actually that the seller has bought some time ago and they've improved it, they've made it nice and modern. So let's say you buy this house for 300,000, okay? The moment you buy that house means that there's very little equity left in it, if any at all, because it's highly likely that you've paid the maximum price for that house. So if it's worth 300,000 and it's on the market for 300,000, you pay 300,000 for it, there's no equity. So from the minute you buy it, there's no equity. And it might well be that in 1 year's time, there's still no equity, or it might have gone up by £10,000, for example. So you've created £10,000 in 1 year. Maybe after 3 years, you've created another 10,000, who knows? But the thing to remember is this: buying that type of property to create wealth is not the way to do it. However, there's a much easier and better way to create wealth for you and your family. And basically it's this, right? Let me show you. Excuse my left hand again. So you find a property that's on the market, okay, for let's say 230,000 pounds, okay? However, you don't want to pay that because it's dated, it needs work done to it. So you go and buy this property for 200,000, okay? So straight away you can see you've made £30,000 profit already, because it's worth 230, you've paid 200 for it. So there's £30,000 profit already, but it gets better. Okay, so let's put a roof on that as well. So you then decide that you're going to modernize it. It's a nice house, you're going to live in it, you and your family are going to be happy. Okay, so you spend, let's say, £30,000 on it to increase its value, modernize it. And then after a year or so, okay, this property, because you've modernized it, you've turned a dated, oldish type house into something really nice. It's now worth 300,000. Okay, so can you see you've paid 200 for it, okay, plus the 30,000 you've spent on it. That means you have spent all in all £230,000 on this property, but it's now worth £300,000. So the difference between the two means that you have made £70,000 equity. You've created £70,000 equity. So if you were to sell this house, you would have an extra £70,000 in the bank because of what you've done. This is where it gets better, because you now gone and bought another house, and let's say you've done exactly the same again. Okay, you've bought it for 200. Yeah, you've spent, let's say, 40,000 this time because it's a slightly bigger house. Okay, you spent 40,000, and this time the property, after a year or so, because of what you've done, you've modernized it, is now worth, let's say, 320,000. Okay, so all in all, you've spent 200,000 plus the 40, which means you spent £240,000. You've now sold it for that. Yeah, the difference between the two is now £80,000. So I'm on a slide because I'm left-handed. Okay, so previously you sold the property that you bought and made 70k profit. Now you've made 80. So all in all, over the couple of years of being a little bit savvy, you've made, yeah, £150,000. £150,000 just by buying an older property that's got a smaller mortgage, more affordable mortgage. You haven't got anything hanging around your neck that you can't really afford. You're able to enjoy life a bit more as well. And you've created £150,000 worth of equity just after doing this 2 or 3 times. Let's say though, okay, you're a first time buyer. Let's say you're, I don't know, let's say you're 25 years old, okay? And you did exactly what I've just said. And after the first time you've done it, you've made £70,000 equity, okay? 70,000. Then let's say, I don't know, you're 28 years old. And you've done the same again. And this time you've made, what did I say it was? £80,000 equity. Okay. And then by the time now you slow down a little bit, let's say you're, I don't know, 34 years old. Okay. And you've done the same again. And this time you've made £100,000. Now, so far in the bank, you have got £240,000 250, yeah, £250,000 worth of profit equity that you have made over those few years. So already you're creating wealth for you and your family. Just imagine doing this 3 or 4 times, like I said, and then maybe you've done it 5 times, okay? By the time you're, let's say 45 years old, okay? 45 years old. You've done this 4 or 5 times. By now, you have got £400,000 worth of profit equity that you've created in the bank. And now, because you've stepped up the property ladder, you have got your forever home. One that you can live in for forever, basically. But what this does, it gives you choices as well. Because it might well be that you'd like to semi-retire. Use that cash, semi-retire. The good thing is, which I'm not going to explain too much into now, is that every time you've made money and you've reinvested it into another home, you don't have to pay tax on it, okay? But that's another story. So it might well be that by the time you're, I don't know, let's just say 50, okay? And you've got all this money in the bank, you could semi-retire. Or if you wanted to, you might find that your mortgage is relatively small by now and you're able to afford more things. You're enjoying life better. So yeah, you could retire maybe altogether. Or what you could do is maybe downsize. Okay, say you downsize. It's awkward when you're left-handed doing this. I haven't got my other device where I can just show it on the screen. It's broken down. So you could downsize in the property. So let's say that this property that you're now living in, your forever home, okay, is now worth, just for argument's sake, £500,000. Let's just say it's £500,000. Okay. You decided you're going to sell. So you sell it for 500,000. Let's say, for argument's sake, that when you do that, okay, you've bought a smaller property, you've downsized, and this property is going to be worth, after you've renovated it, 250,000. Okay. Let's say you bought it for maybe 200,000 because you've done the same again, and you've spent 50 on it to make it your definite forever home. Okay. But you've still got an extra 250k left over from when you sold the house, okay, that you can add to the 400,000 that you've already made over the years. And this is the best way to create long-term wealth for you and your family. You get this right from the very beginning and you're well on your way. You really are. How far you want to go with this depends on you. But the great thing is there's nothing stopping you. And this is something I really do try and drum home into, or I did drum home into my children who are now, who've done this. Not once, not twice, but quite a few times now. And they, from a fairly youngish age, if they want to, they could semi-retire. It depends on what you want in life. But like I said, there is a lot more to this. And if you'd like to learn the in-depths of the renovation part of things, how to be quite savvy, think smart, renovate smart, how to increase a property's value, because there's no good in buying a property whereby you can only increase it by X amount, because maybe there's a ceiling within the area that you're buying it from. Location's important, is important, the street where you buy a property is important. All of these things really do matter. But ideally, this works every single time. But the thing to remember is the first house that you buy is rarely your forever home. That is because after a number of years, your family might increase in size, you might decide you want to relocate, or whatever that reason is, you may want to step up the property ladder, it doesn't matter. But if you find a house, as I say, for say £230,000, it needs run down. The key is to buy it below market value. Like I said, if you haven't already subscribed, I hope you found this useful. But if you haven't subscribed, please do give us a like. I'll put some links in the bio below and the comments, and you can download some other guides, even some courses if you like. And there's lots of other videos that whereby I teach the ins and outs of this in a little bit more detail. So until next time, I'll see you on my next video.